I have a very strong belief that who we are is made up by much more than just our DNA. We're the sum of our experiences, and we're more importantly, the sum of those special people who have graced our lives along the way. Today, we have come together to celebrate just such a person. John Miliauskas has and continues to develop young hearts into proud and driven individuals. He gave many of us the foundation that put us on a path to success in our lives. It is his energy and his enthusiasm that is contagious. His demand for discipline and perfection that is addictive. I remember coming home from Marine Corps boot camp, an honor graduate, and people saying how difficult that must have been. And I always responded, it was a pleasant break. I said, heck, I've been in training since the 5th grade. So many of his traits and his principles and habits continue to stay with us each and every day. And I made almost all of his habits. Today we're going to hear from just a small group of people that have been blessed to have been mentored by Mr. Miliauskas. But first, let me recognize the team that helped put all this together. So please stand as I mention your name, and I would ask everyone to please hold your applause until the entire committee has been recognized. First and foremost, our chairwoman and leader extraordinaire, Ginny Piedai. David Scott, Ryan Kinney, Kate Stepanovich-Covert, Mary Beth Tomko, Liz Farmer, Carol Martin Rosser, Jim Paul, Lisa Holliday, Bill Gossard McIntosh, Debbie Lansbury Misson, Joan Fielding Titus, Earl Cunningham, Carlene McCaffrey, and Gina Major Ackerman. Give them all a great round of applause. We have a number of very special guests with us that I'd like to recognize. First and foremost, our own Mrs. Dorothy Miliauskas. We have John Miliauskas III, along with his wife Sarah and children Eva and Ella. Debbie Miliauskas Henderson, along with her husband Nicholas, and their children Alexandria, Gabrielle, and Nicholas. Jimmy Miliauskas with his wife Renee, and their children James and Matthew. Our own Senator Lisa Baker. Superintendent James McGovern, and our high school principal, Doug Klopp. I would ask that, I know we have some teachers in attendance, so any past or present teachers, please stand and be recognized. At this time, I would also like to recognize those who went on to become music educators and ask them to please stand and be recognized because this is the ultimate honor to Mr. Miliauskas. I wanted to make a quick comment about our program. David Scott and his whole team did an extraordinary job on it. We had to make a decision about who we put in, and so the final decision was to put each senior class in. And I know there were so many others that or participated in the band along the way. And we hope that we'll continue the efforts to try to gather all those names and document all those names, because there were so many people. So I hope everyone understands. Now, without further ado, what I'd like to do is have our class representative remarks. First up is Gordon Dersheimer, class of 1960.
Good afternoon, guests, honored guests. It's my pleasure to speak to you today. Inspiration began in 1956 when John Miliauskas arrived at Lake Knoxon School to head the music department of one. His duties included all music classes, choruses, instrument lessons, and 3 bands. After my failed flute lessons and lack of interest in the French horn, hopes of becoming a member of the band grew dim. However, omniscient Mr. Miliauskas learned of my baton twirling. He invited me to be drum major. There was a catch, an important catch, Mr. Miliauskas. The uniform had no pants. I joined the band, got pants, continued my not-so-private baton lessons, and practice, hoping to never hear these words. Where do you think you are? In the land of oobla-dee? Maestro Miliauskas also introduced us to the world of choral music. This has remained an important part of my life. Brother Jack, Mr. Miliauskas, my brother Jack reflected. Mr. Miliauskas recruited me for band and chorus. Since I was unable to play any instruments or sing one note, I became a rifle-carrying color guard in the band, and in the chorus, I stood in the shadow of Alan Swanson, bass extraordinaire. I have fond memories of the great man who introduced me to performance. I produce, direct, and act in Wild West shows. My brother David said, Mr. Miliauskas developed the entertainer within me, encouraged me to be showy with cymbals and the bass drum while serving as metronome for the band. During novelty acts, he encouraged my character acting skills. He tolerated my vacillation between football and band. Combining those skills carried me through a long career in the world-famous Cypress Gardens water ski show. Baby brother Eric envisioned Mr. Miliauskas bearing a broad smile and a cup of coffee, often exclaiming, "Moro!" During trumpet lessons and many missed notes, I can still hear John's words of wisdom. Think, don't stink. In high school, I chose color guard over trumpet and carried either a flag or a rifle. Being in the band provided lessons which positively influenced me. Mr. Miliauskas, my brothers and I thank you for inspiring us to discover our strengths and put them to use in our everyday lives. Thank you.